All right, cool. Well, welcome to week 11, everybody. This has been a lot of fun, and I know a lot of you guys have learned a lot, and I've loved listening to your success stories. Like for reals, it brings tears to my eyes every time you guys text me or Facebook me and say, "Hey, this 30 seconds could change my career, or did change my career. I got the listing, or I got the buyer because of this." A couple of you got that used the buyer seminars that we talked about the other day. I know two of you got a sale off it, or at least a buyer under contract offer. So that was cool. So just hearing those things made me totally worth it. So if you're new, or if you haven't seen how to list a home over Zoom class that we did like week 3 or 4, make sure you go back into the units, or on YouTube or on realestatemarketingshow.com. We have these classes everywhere now, you guys. So it's really easy to find them. If you haven't gone back and caught up, I highly recommend it because we did it in an order for a reason, right? So when we did the Zoom class, everybody's like, cool. Well, Mike, you skipped over your listing presentation so fast. I want to know more about it. I want you guys to realize also, and I'll try to point some things out, when we did this listing presentation, and I'll admit up front, it's not the best. If I had more time to sit there and play with it, and if I was a graphic designer, I would change it daily, and there's a bunch of changes that I want to make for the next time we edit it. But it's good enough for now, and we've listed millions of dollars worth of real estate with this listing presentation. So if you have ideas or comments, let me know, and I can definitely change them. But one of the things that I say, whether I'm in person or over Zoom when listing a property, I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, there's really only a couple things you need to worry about when hiring an agent. And trust me, price is not one of them, right? I mean, anybody can price a home that's been in the real estate business long enough. And quite honestly, it's our job to flood you with enough information for you to make that decision, not us. So if you thought I came over here to give you a price on your home, you're very wrong. I'm here to show you why I'm the best company at the best firm to get the job done. So with that being said, homework assignment number 1 is go to realestatemarketingshow.com, the podcast, and watch the video that says stop giving price before commitment on listings. Never, ever, ever give a price before you have the commitment. It's okay to give a very wide range because we already know the range, but never give a price or never commit to a price. Because if you say $1, the next agent's going to come in behind you and say $1.10, and they're going to get the listing. Basically, they outbid you for the listing. So just say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, once you've made the decision, you feel comfortable and confident working with me, and we've made the commitment, whether it's verbal, handshake, or by paperwork, we'll then go spend the time and take hours and hours to do the appraisal. So if you go back and watch that video, it's an hour long of me talking about how to take listings properly without price. So here, let's move on. The next thing to consider during this presentation is remember the 4 personalities. We have the driver, the analytical, the amiable, and the high I, or the expressive. And we want this presentation verbally and visually to appeal to all personality styles. So we'll flip through this. Here's our team. When I'm presenting the team, and I don't care if this is Mutt and Jeff, Tom, Dick, and Harry, I don't really care who's on the team at any given time. Well, I shouldn't say that, especially when half the team's listening right now. But what I mean is, this could be anybody. These could be made up people. If you don't have a team right now, put your true team on it, which is your lender, your title, your escrow, your termite, your home warranty person, your insurance agent, your handyman, and make that your team. Because the following words are going to be very, very important. When an agent is being interviewed by a seller, and I come in and I say 2 things that make me in the running. The very first thing I say is, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, has anybody really presented to you their team and how their team works? It's almost no. Even if the agent has a team, they usually leave the team out. I think it's really important. I say, look, there's so many aspects and processes and procedures in real estate. We need a team. Every single person on their team has to do their job, and they have to do it right. I'll give you a great example. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you interviewed an agent on Monday and they didn't talk about their team, here's what's going to happen. There's going to get a couple buyers that are going to call on your sign. They're going to put them in the car, and they're going to drive people around in circles for hours and hours and hours and not do anything to market your home. You see, we don't work like that. I don't put buyers in my car and drive them around for hours and hours and hours. I spend all my time and effort and energy and money marketing your property. So this is our team, and this is how the team works. We talk about the transaction coordinator, the marketing coordinator, all that stuff. And Deanna, if you're listening, make sure we add some more of that stuff to the next one, write it down. And I tell them, look, if your person doesn't have a team, that means they're doing paperwork, driving people around in circles, taking time off. Like, they can't, not one person can do it. So in the seller's mind, they go, wow, those other two agents didn't talk about a team, and they're probably driving people around in circles. As a matter of fact, they had big, comfortable Mercedes and Escalades, and now I know what they're doing instead of marketing property. So I say, this is the difference between a listing agent and a buying agent, right? So when I'm a listing agent, these are all the things that I have to do and organize, and all these systems that make homes sell, make the phone ring, make buyers see your property. So it gets really, really important. And when you look at a presentation like this at first glance, you go, oh, wow, that's fine. He's got a team, cool. But when you tell the seller what's up, that makes a big difference. The second thing about a team is I try to talk about how costly mistakes are too, and how the escrow process works. And if your agent is not, if they are driving people around, your escrow period could go from 30 days to 60 days just because of human error. Or maybe they say, oh, I got to show property the next couple of days, so I'm going to put that inspection off. And I start scaring them a little bit and say, wow, I want Mike to get an escrow closed in 30 days, not 60 like the competition. So there's a bunch of little things like that. We'll try not to take too much time. So this particular page doesn't really even mean anything. It's just pretty. If you're a driver and you're looking to, like, a driver makes decisions quick, right? They give them good information, they can make a quick decision. So real simple. One of the best teams in Santa Clarita, outstanding service, circle of excellence. I don't even know what these things are, but if it makes a seller go, huh, well, if it's here in writing, it must be true. I must have called a good agent. On this side, it's kind of appealing for an expressive, and it just kind of, and I say, this is how we're going to get into the marketing process. There's been a lot of times a driver will stop me and say, look, dude, I know you're a good marketer. I get it. You have a really nice presentation. List my damn house. I'm like, boom. Other than price, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today, right? So then we go into the marketing. So we talk a lot about, especially today, of course, and this is a very old presentation. We've been doing virtual marketing forever. Cinematic exposure, like using Tour Factory is a company that we used to use, and I'm sure a lot of you do. They have a different name now. We talk a lot about the aerial photography, how important it is to show the lots. And if the agent doesn't have a 3D tour, there's no way they could properly market your property. So here's another thing you always have to do. Have you ever seen this before? And if they go, yeah, well, yeah, I see it all the time, or the last two agents showed it to me, you're like, oh, okay, good. I just want to make sure this is kind of like elementary. If they don't even do this, it's not a good fit, right? So a lot of times the agents don't spend time on a marketing presentation, so they'll be like, I don't know. Well, if they weren't proud of it and they didn't show you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they probably don't do it. And this is one of the problems we have with the agents. Most of them won't spend the money to market property, right? And I'll even drop little things. It's called suggestive selling. It's a form of NLP. And I'll even say, yeah, these are important things. And this is why commissions are what they are. Do you know over 1% of the marketing fee just pays for your marketing? Like, this is important. And I'll just drop little things like that. Kings of social media, right? That's a pretty big thing. And I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you see homes all the time on Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that, right? And they go, well, some say, no, I don't really pay attention. And some people say, yeah, I see them all the time. I'll say, anybody can click on a link and post it on their Facebook. When they say they do Facebook advertising, that's not really advertising. Let me show you. And I'll take them into our ads manager campaign, and I'll show them the thousands and thousands and thousands of views that we get on our properties, depending on how analytical they are, right? So I go down and I talk to them all about the different types of social media. And then, since we do use Ylopo, and I recommend all you guys do too, and we do still use Commissions Inc., and we do use Google AdWords through both of those platforms, I talk to them about, I go, now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is something where I really have to slow you down and show you the difference between most agents and what a digital marketer is. You see, we're just marketing specialists with real estate licenses. And if we can't market your home, we can't get enough buyers. And if we can't sell it in the first 30 days, you're going to get, 3, 5, up to 10% negotiated off the price of your home. So I want to show you how we've actually started marketing your home 6 years ago. And I talked to them about Why Lopo and Commissions Inc. about how we have a database of literally thousands and thousands of buyers. And I'll actually go into that and show them how we have all these buyers. So I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, people ask me all the time, how do I sell homes before the signs go up? And this is my secret, and I'll let you in on it, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, since you're going to be able to experience how powerful this is. So we go into the database and we say, look, here's thousands of buyers. Here's active buyers right now looking to buy your home. And the reason we do this is because we've marketed hundreds, if not thousands of properties over the last several years. And all those buyer leads come in and they nurture and they incubate in our database. So we have the ability to actually pick up the phone and call them, mass text them, mass email them, and something what we call a push, where we just start pushing it to them automatically. This is also where I talk about retargeting, remarketing. I talk about dynamic searches and why they're so important. I start talking about bonded searches and why it's so important. And this is another very integral stage of the listing presentation where they're like, whoa, dude. Okay, Mike, look, seriously, I love what you just said. All I heard was you have thousands of buyers, just list my home. This is at the point. And you can go for a trial close on every page. Do you feel comfortable and confident knowing that I'm the right agent for your home? If they say, show me more, cool. Amiables will go all the way through the end of this, and they don't even really listen. They just go, oh, this is so fun, we're bonding. But the reality is different personalities at different times. If I have an analytical, they'll be like, and I'll offer, I can say, would you like to see deep into one of these databases and see how they work? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, shit, it's freaking analytical, right? So, and if it's a driver, we've already had it listed by now. And if it's expressive, they're like, okay, I got what you're saying, but come look and see how awesome my house is. Let's go see the rest of it. And I'll say, that's fine. Don't you want to see what else we do? No, I know you're the best. And so I rarely make it through these presentations. And then here's a page where people just want to make sure their home is everywhere. I've never even heard of half these websites, but since they're on here, I'm assuming we do it. I can actually use showing time as another tool that no agents talk about. Everybody has showing time for the most part. I can actually list a home by just telling them the benefits and the features of the lockbox and how I use it and how nobody else talks about that. So even if you're brand new in the business, you have zero money, you have zero marketing, you have zero experience, and you get a showing time slide and throw it in there and talk about how controlled the showings are and how safe it's going to be and how I could do statistics and get feedback. No other agent has talked about these things, you guys. So it's a pretty book to look at, but when you really start sitting people down and going through these pages, every page psychologically has a very strong impact on a buying decision. Everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold, right? So all I'm doing is flooding them with enough information to let me know why I'm so good. And when it comes time for commission objections, I rarely have them because I say things like, Mr. and Ms. Smith, this is so expensive, but it's really worth it. Most agents can't or won't pay that money, but this is the difference between your home selling in 5 days or 50 days. Which would you rather have, right? So I have those types of conversations with them. This is another psychologically thing. It's kind of like a third-party endorsement. We talk about sold properties in their areas. Sorry about my dog barking in the background. But you can see, like, we have a city that we picked from all the cities around us that we service. So naturally, I'm going to be sitting in their home, or they're going to be sitting in their home over Zoom. And I'm going to say, oh yeah, here's just another one like in Thousand Oaks I sold a years. This was, 1.8 million. I know yours isn't that expensive, but we still use the same marketing. And I just make sure they know that we've sold them. And I can also, if people want to talk about, excuse me, let me move some of these controls. If people want to start talking about experience too, I'll also take them to the Team Bjorkman website. And we should probably go over this website at some point. What in the world happened? That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Is that new, Deanna? Do we have a new website or something? Okay. But I will take them to the sold homes link. Sold homes link. And I'll just say, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we've been selling homes like yours, for years. And I'll just talk to them while I scroll through these homes. And they're like, holy crap. I go, I know there's thousands of them on here, but if you want to see if anything specific that looks kind of like yours, That's fine. And I just keep scrolling and scrolling. They're like, okay, I get it. I get it. All right. Trust me. I get it. I'm like, no, no, look here, look at another 1,000 just for fun. Right. And then at the bottom, if I ever get there, if they let me get there, I'll be like, look, these are just thousands of homes that we've sold. Oh, there we go. And then I stop on here and I say, look at some beautiful some of these homes are 1.8, 1.7, and especially if it's a luxury listing, I'll just start showing them homes that I've sold in the millions of dollars. And you don't have to have your own sales. You could use your company sales too if you're asking yourself that question right now. But trust me, by the time I get to there, they're like, oh my God, okay, you're awesome. Just where do I sign? So let's continue. We talk about with an amiable, I'm going to talk a lot about holding your hand through the process. And I actually use those words. One of the benefits of working with us, I mean, Mr. and Miss Smith, I'm sure you've heard somebody say, I'm going to hold your hand through something, but we really, truly are going to hold your hand. And I don't even know why that page is in there, but that's kind of where I talk about it. And here's more stuff for drivers. If they're flipping through this book, remember this book is designed not just for me to present, but for them to flip through. And there's key words that we've planted in this book several different times, right? Like we already talked about professional photography and videography, but here it is just planted in there because in case they flipped over the second page and third page, now they're in the middle of the book, they're going to see things again. A lot of this is visual for the expressive. The expressive, oh, look, pretty homes. Look, I like these colors, that kind of stuff. This is all put in here on purpose. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com. And the reason is they all want to be on these websites, but they don't know why. They just know those are where they normally go to look. So this just gives them a very nice, comfortable feeling that they're like, oh, okay, cool. I am going to be on these websites too. And I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, not that any of these websites truly matter, but I'm sure because you're not an agent, you stumble across some of these websites once in a while. As a matter of fact, you might have even seen a Zestimate of your home, huh? And they're like, oh yeah. So we work hand in hand and we partner with these companies to help market your property with them side by side. They can't do it without us, but we can do it without them. We just choose to partner with them, right? And they're like, oh, no kidding. I talk about network groups and we talk a lot about, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, some of the benefits of working with us is we'll actually go to network groups and we find buyers and we talk to other agents. There's 1,500 agents in our town and we make it our mission to talk, text, and email every single one of them about your home. Because when we work with network groups, there's thousands of homes in the MLS canceled, withdrawn. Buyers get so confused. But the reality is we search out the agents that have buyers for your home. We can only work with a handful of buyers, but that's why we have the MLS. That's why we have other agents. We want to network with them. We have a great relationship with them. We always have. So when you list with me, you're actually listing with the best agents in the Valley. Doesn't that make you feel comfortable knowing that you choose one agent and you get all the best agents? That way in their mind, I'm subliminally planting, oh good, I don't really need to worry if I have the best agent or not, because he's already going to work with all the other best ones. I skipped over that fast, but we can talk a little bit about it. Testimonials are always something cool just to have in there. Third-party endorsements are really huge. There's very few of them in here, but I didn't want to leave it out altogether. But here is where things get important. When you have the checklist, you got to realize people don't sell homes every day, right? They need to know what the heck is going on. And I always say to them, I go, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm going to email you or I'm going to show this to you. Or when I get there, we're going to go over the questions. And this is a great time to find out. Are you going to interview, when you shake your head no, any more agents besides me, right? And they might be lying and they might say, yeah, no, but they have 2 more appointments. They just don't know. They're just scared. And if they say, yeah, I was thinking about talking to a couple, I go, great. Oh my God, then you're going to love this. This is going to be everything for you. I wrote these questions over almost 30 years of experience, or if you're new in the business, my broker wrote these questions with over 30 years in the business, or my team wrote these questions. So here's little things. Somebody posted this on LabCoat once and I got lit up like a Christmas tree. It was so fun because I purposely put crap in here that other agents can't do. Because when I'm competing, if I'm similar to another agent, there's some good agents out there, or if I failed at a meaningful presentation, I want to make sure that I can still smoke them out of here. Are you a broker or an agent, right? Oh, no. Yeah, that other agent wasn't a broker. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. A broker's license is all next level, way more education, way more experience necessary, rigorously tested, throughout our industry. If you're just talking to an agent, I don't know if I would do that. It's kind of like going to a nurse practitioner instead of a brain surgeon, wouldn't you think? And they're like, oh shit, I better not do that. Right. So I know there's some of you watching this going, that sucks, Mike. You're a jerk. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Do it too. Go get your broker's license. Don't be lazy. Do you handle sales as well as real estate and property management? And they go, I don't think they do any property management. Does it matter? No, maybe a little bit, but I just say, yeah, see, that's the problem. I have a database of literally thousands and thousands and thousands of active tenants. If I could market your property to tenants, potential buyers that don't even need to sell a home first, don't you think that would be powerful? Yeah, I mean, we have 600 tenants and all of them want to buy homes at some point. Why wouldn't you want to work with somebody who handles 100% of the market instead of 50? That's kind of half-assed if you ask me, right, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? And they're like, I never even thought about that. I could hear you guys going, you mother effer right now. Right? And this is only question 2 and I'm smoking you out of the water, right? How many transactions have you closed in your career? That one is, it is what it is. So if I was new in the business, I'd say my company, my team, and my broker, we've closed thousands of properties. What kind of staff do you employ? We talk about the staff. We talked about the little bit in the beginning. Do you work with buyers? So the average agent goes, yeah, I work with buyers. And I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if that agent says they work with buyers, you can't work with them. You need to know the difference between a listing agent and a selling agent, like we talked about in the beginning. Do you hold open houses? So if Team Bjorkman seller would like an open house, we do it. We promote mega open houses. And I talk about the difference between a proper open house and a half-ass open house again. And then if they say, we don't want open houses, I say, oh, thank God, that's so stupid. With all this video and virtual tours, we have a 24-hour open house, right? Especially now in Corona time, that's going to be a big deal. How do you give back to your community? Well, I'm huge with charity, right? And this is for the amiables, right? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, let me show you. And this is all the things. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give a small portion of my commission to any charity that you want. Now that I know that you're into community outreach, which shall that be? And I'll write it down and I'll say, I'll take my pen and I'll go, all right, you want to give that to the Heart Association. Okay, cool. Awesome. Here, sign this little thing here and I'll make sure I throw that in the file for my assistant, right? And they're like, starting to get used to selling. If you ever been to a timeshare presentation, they have you sign things along the way. If it's virtual, no problem. I'll just say, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, remind me that you want to donate, your portion of my commission to the cat foundation for the hairless cats. And don't let me forget that, okay? And they're like, okay. So now I'm starting to be their agent, right? What networking groups are you part of? No other agent talks about that, so we talk about that. How do you report weekly statistics, right? We're just freaking showing time, Zillow, whatever. We put a nice little package together, but most agents don't talk about that. What does your brokerage do to market my property, right? So we talk about, oh yeah, EXP is syndicating to so much this and that, and other companies just don't do that. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the digital marketing experience. So you got to make sure you're with us. And then it's so fun. I love doing this to people. How do you incorporate video into your marketing, right? And I talk to them about driving traffic versus just posting, and we go back to that. How do you market to the agents? Well, we talk about, again, where you have Market View Broker through Showing Time. We have the list of every single agent. Not only do the list, we have their cell phone number, their email, and we make sure we reach out to them and make sure they know about your home. And no other agent talks about that. So, and then if they do surprise them with these questions, they'll be like, the MLS does that. They don't know what the fuck the fudge you're saying. Who implements your marketing? I talk about Deanna, who's awesome. She's the one that does our marketing. And if you don't have a marketing assistant, man, you just can't do this business, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So you don't want to talk trash about anybody. So if you don't have a marketing assistant, you really do. You hire somebody to design your stuff. You hire somebody to do some stuff for your office, or somebody might have something. So you better have that question. You better have it, figured out. What specifically is in your market plan? Now, sometimes this isn't in our market plan. So it might be just in our video. It might be just a little list that they downloaded off a landing page. So obviously this is part of it. How do you manage a database? We just fire up our database, whether we were using Top Producer a few years ago, now we're using FirePoint and KV Core, so we can fire that up and show them how cool all this stuff is. How do you price a home? So we actually go see the competing homes and flood you with enough information. Do you guys see this language that I keep using? It's real language, it's real scripts, it's real dialogues. people want to be flooded. It sounds like it's more valuable, right? I'm going to flood you with enough information. Or if they don't want to be flooded like a driver, they're just saying, dude, just tell me, or like, you're my agent, just tell me exactly where to price my home. I will. So then we can do that. But here's what I do. I look at them in the eyes and I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm sure an agent brought over a couple pieces of paper, probably black and white, but if they were color, great. How do you feel about some agent that's never seen these other homes, barely knows your home, telling you what your home is worth? What agent has the right to tell you what your home is worth? You know what's awesome about your home. You know what makes it go. You know all these things, right? So I say, I'm either going to A, take you, or B, go video all these other properties. And I'm actually going to go see them. If I can't get them, I'm just going to drive by. And I'm going to, like I said, compile all this information. That's why it's so important you and I are in a good fit before I go spend 2 or 3 hours doing this. If I don't know 150% that I'm going to be your agent, I can't spend that kind of time. And you can understand that. And you can appreciate that, right? Yeah, you wouldn't want to work for free for 5 hours, would you? No. So you see, all this is getting into their mind a little bit more. Are your fees negotiable? Yeah, we have a commission plan to fit every single budget, and we're going to go over that by the end. And make sure you chat and say, hey, don't forget to talk about that. Because if they're looking at this list and they don't know me, and if it says, and they're already thinking it, right? They're already going, are your fees negotiable? Are your fees negotiable? So if you put it in writing, they're going to be like, oh, cool. All right. Yeah. So I already know his fees are negotiable, or at least have a plan. This way they don't cancel their appointment with me. How long is my agreement? We don't tie you up for 6 to 12 months. We use an easy exit day-to-day listing agreement. Basically, we work on a handshake. We hold ourselves accountable. That's powerful, right? Nobody wants to get trapped into a contract. What kind of web ads do you do? Too many to list. And I just start talking to them about traffic. We'll show them, commission these ink again if we have to, or Ylopo, all that stuff. How do you deliver feedback from the showings? We talk about showing time again. And then do you have a paid social media campaign? And we've probably talked about this 10 times, but I'm just going to remind them that, look, social media is not social media unless you're putting money behind it. You got to pay to play. That's why Facebook and LinkedIn are so big. We talk about that stuff. So I hope that was helpful. In the back it just says, we're looking forward to getting you the offer you want, offer you wanted, the terms you wanted, the prices you want. And then I can say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, based on everything we've gone over, do you truly understand now why we list more homes than anybody in this valley? And do you understand this experience in this marketing is truly what drives you getting your home sold in the quickest amount of time for the highest price? And usually by that time, you guys, I very rarely make it to the end, and I'll flip back and forth between on whatever we need to do. What time is it? Oh, we're going good on time. All right, so now we're going to flip over to objections. And you guys know me, I do classes for Club Wealth all the time, so I'm not going to redo the presentation with my own PowerPoint stuff if I don't have to. This is a class I did a couple years ago. I think it was at Listing Agent Bootcamp or whatever. But these are the objections that I've handpicked that I want you guys to master, like internalize, like Mike Ferry says. Make sure you get this. All right, we're going to talk about, hey, I need to talk to a few more agents first, right? And this happens a lot, especially if you're not good with personality styles. And I'll read it, but obviously it flows out of my mouth much more fluid. I totally get that you have appointments with other agents, Mr. and Ms. Smith. As a matter of fact, I encourage that. And I really do. I want you to make the best decision. Let me ask you a question. Based on what I've showed you so far, this is right after that presentation, do you feel I can get you the highest price in the quickest amount of time? Awesome. Let's do this. And I get excited with them, right? Let's go. Me and you, let's get this thing going. And then they're like, okay, let's do it. Fine. If they're on the fence, we give them a little nudge. Sign the paperwork with me now. Make the commitment so I can at least go start your marketing, your pre-marketing campaign and your pricing. At any time you feel you need to talk to, or if anytime you feel you talk to an agent that can do a better job than me, remember I just told you about that easy exit listing agreement, you're out. So just tear that thing up and get my sign out of the yard and you're free to roam. And then I always say, if you have that weird feeling in your stomach, it's like a little embarrassing to cancel appointments. I do it all the time. I'll call them for you. And it's my favorite experience ever when I was training Tammy, my ex-partner. And I really wanted to beat this into her head that this was real. So every single listing appointment that we went on when I was training her, I would do that. And she would just die laughing or of embarrassment because I would literally cancel all the other appointments for the sellers. And we'd laugh, and I'd call them and they wouldn't answer. And I'd text them, hey, your appointment tomorrow with Mr. and Mrs. Smith's canceled. 5 seconds later, the phone rings. Mr. Smith answers the phone. Did Mike Bjorkman just text me that you listed with him? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I feel comfortable with Mike. They'd hang up and we, high five. So that's real. This one isn't as big anymore for me, but I've heard around the country it still is. I get that. Zillow is, your price is lower than Zillow. So no matter how many times you can try not to give price, but people always do. So this is what I've trained my team to say. I get that. Zillow is just a price range only. It says right in the website that it's up to 20%, could be more than 20% off what they say. And I go, you can't get mad at them. They're just building a computer program. It's just an algorithm, pulling in stats from a huge radius. Like even my house, like these condos up on the hill, it pulls in, and that's going to hurt my property value. So the computer doesn't know, right? You can only do so much. And it says you could have very different homes. Like your home's 10 times better or worse than your neighbor. So how can they compare like that? It doesn't make sense. And I always use this word. There's no way a robot can tell you the price of your home. If an agent can barely do it, you think a robot's going to do it? There's no way. It's just fun to get a price range. That's all it's trying to do, is give you a little bit of information to go off of. So let's go over this together like humans, right? To find your true price, not just some guess price, but a true price. As a matter of fact, we can even go look at the homes together. How's that sound? And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I don't really want to go into my neighbor's homes, but yeah, you can video them or whatever. So this is an easy script. It's easy to remember. You can even screw it up really bad and it still makes sense. So don't ever be afraid to fight with the stupid Zestimate or so many other websites in today's market, home bots and all that stuff. Okay. The next big one. We need to think about it, Mike. I know, I totally agree. It's a huge decision, and screwing that up can be costly. I get it. One of the benefits of listing with Team Bjorkman is you have the right to cancel at any time with 24 hours notice. So you're kind of going to test drive us, Mr. and Ms. Smith. Let's go ahead and sign the paperwork now. Get things going. Sleep on it, pray on it, talk to your family about it, whatever. If you still don't feel comfortable and you still feel somebody can get you more money than me, which is never going to happen, you can cancel this agreement. Just remember, 3 minds, 4 minds are better than 2, right? So I'm going to be thinking about how you can get you even more money. Like, let's do this, right? And go back to that attitude. So they're like, well, we still want to, I go, okay, based on everything you saw, do you feel I'm the right agent? Yes. Okay, then what is it specifically you're going to think about tonight? And I'm not that brutal on them. I'm just like, okay, got it. What do you want to think about though? Like, is it price? Is it condition? Like, those are all things that you control, not me. And then they'll tell you, and then I'll say, other than blank, is there any other reason? And then I'll handle that objection. Typically this works right away. Confidence, you guys. Confidence is everything when you talk about the script. You just say, you're crazy. I get you want to think about it. I'm giving you an easy exit listing. Like, I don't know what more you need. This one's a big one. It has been for a long time. We need you to find our home first, or we need to find another home first. Now, I know there's some very educated agents that listen to this, so I know you get this, but there are some new ones, so just deal with it. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, trust me, I get that all the time. Let me go over a few reasons why we can't do that. Like, your home's going to hit the market. It's going to be perfect price, perfect location and condition. Someone might even call that your dream home, right? Well, how am I supposed to prove to the seller's agent that your home is sold before we can get an offer accepted? Obviously, I can't do that. I can't lie to them, right? We have a much better chance of selling your home contingent than we do buying one that way. If it's a seller, if the seller is motivated, they're not going to wait for your home to sell. I'm sorry, they won't. And I pause here and I go, I'm a listing agent. When your home is on the market and a buyer comes to us and says, look, I have a home to sell. I love this home. Will you give me a couple months to sell my home? What are we going to say to that? You're going to say no, right? And I'm not going to let you do that. That's dangerous. That's terrible. That's how you're going to lose a lot of money. Do you think that person's going to do the same? Probably, if they have a good agent like me, right? So put us in their position. We're not going to let you do that. So I promise you're not going to end up on the streets. There's other options too. Let's go over those now. So we talk about bridge loans. We talk about borrowing from their 401k, getting gifts, whatever they need to do to see if they can qualify for 2 homes. But another one is confidence with this thing, right? They're going to say, no, you have to find my home first. I'm just going to say, cool. If I find that home today and you lose that dream home, what are you going to think? Like, This is your one chance for your dream home to come on the market. And they're like, okay. Other agents say they can get more. Now, this is the exact reason, the exact reason why I say never give them the price. Since I know so many of you will do it anyways, I have to come up with stupid scripts like this. And quite honestly, I did it too sometimes back in my career, so I know what that feels like. And I say, of course they do. It's a game to them. They can't show you. They have a proven track record like me and a market plan that's going to blow up your price. They actually try to outbid with other agents to get a higher price. Like, truth is, they want to get excited and beat you down on price later once you've signed the contracts. You see, the truth is a good agent will flood you with enough information. Is that funny how that keeps coming back up? Flood you with enough information to make an educated decision. I don't pick the price. The market does. All I do is market your property and negotiate the heck out of it. But let's be honest, just little old me, I can't control a market. I can't control the price. People say I control prices in this town, and that's just because I sell them so fast for so much money, but I can't take the credit for making the market go so high as much as I'd love to. I just can't. So I can make recommendations, but at the end of the day, it's always your choice. If I feel it won't sell at that price, I'll just simply shake your hand. And you know what I say, Mr. and Ms. Smith? I'd rather turn you down than let you down, because I'm not going to look at your face and say, listen, I think we could do this when I know we can't. You're just going to not respect me 30 days from now, and our relationship's going to get very awkward. I would never want to do that to you. So I say, at any time if an agent says a price, it seems too good to be true, it's because it is. Don't forget, homes sell for 5 to 10% less after 30 days. Right? And I go, it's pretty sad. I hope you weren't talking to one of those agents that like to take over price listings. You know why? They go, no, why? Well, imagine if a buyer calls on your house, they can take that buyer and go sell them one of the competing properties and make a commission, right? Yeah. Imagine if they could do that 2 or 3 times each month. Let's say they can sell 5 homes instead of just yours. And it's like, oh, so you see, Mr. and Ms. Smith, the longer your home sits on the market, the better chance an agent has making more money off of it. Isn't that sick? But that's true. That's why if you find an agent that'll even budge $1 on their commission, I bet you that's what they're doing. And they're like, oh shit, like what? Yeah. And I know you guys are dying laughing, but this is what I say, and it's true, right? All right. Here's another one that's been bugging us a lot lately. The discount tech companies are less. And we even have 2 or 3 scripts for this. I'm not sure how many. So we're talking about Redfin, right? We're talking about all those companies that you can just sign up and do a 1% thing or 0.5%, whatever it is. And it seems like they're less. I agree. We've proven that to be not true. The ones that put you online actually only hurt you. Today's buyers are savvy enough to know the good ones will never hit the websites. With 90% of all homes going through traditional real estate, buyers want off-market homes before they hit the market. They understand it takes weeks for homes to get on the websites. They're typically overpriced and sifted through. Buyers always talk to agents also. They need help from professionals. The tech companies won't help you with the price or negotiating. Well, you'll end up coming down so much it won't even make sense. You're just a number to them, right? So I can say if they can make a couple grand off your deal, so what if you had to negotiate down 3 to 5%? So what if the buyer took advantage of you? So what if the other agent took advantage of you? Well, you're trying to just save a couple percent. You can cost yourself a lot more than a couple percent. Like, nobody's comfortable dealing with a robot or a computer. They want an agent. They're going to bring an agent regardless, right? So if you find an agent, we'll talk about that more or less. So you got to tell them that, like, buyers know that your house is, if it's listed on one of those websites, you're probably not going to negotiate. You're probably overpriced, and your condition isn't that good because no real estate agent would even list your home. They're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, it does. All right. I know it seems like 1% is a great deal. The sad part is they don't tell you the other agent still gets their 2.5%. A lot of people don't think like that. They're like, oh, I get to list my house for 1% because that's all they advertise. They don't remember the rest. So now let's look at the 1%. Their so-called agent is on a low salary. They start out by not caring about you. They don't care about the price or the marketing. You're basically on your own. The buyers actually get the deal because you have nobody negotiating for you with no market price, with no marketing. Your price will eventually have to come down and attract deal seekers and investors. That's where all investors and deal seekers go to the websites, Craigslist. You know why? Because agents that are professional, we won't deal with those guys. So all the calls you're going to get are from the deal makers. And this is also really good for sell by owner script too. We'll have a for sell by owner class actually. But websites are great to show off thousands of homes, but there's the reality is families rely on agents and homes need true marketing. Don't be fooled into losing money, time, zero marketing, non-experienced agent. Nobody's fighting for your protection. I'm sure this is not your intention, but it's real. Like they hire agents for 50 or 60 grand a year. I can make that in 2 hours if I sell enough homes. Like if an agent can't even negotiate their own life, how are they going to negotiate the price of your home? This is not the way. And just because you are searching Redfin or whatever site doesn't mean all the other buyers are. Real buyers come to agents first, and we like to go out and find the best deals. Like, stop. Then they're like, oh shit. Other agents will do it for 4%. So I hope you guys are liking this, because we're taking the absolute worst objections and just putting them in the face, right? So, oh, for sure. I see that all the time. And I do laugh. I go, as a matter of fact, I'd like to tell you an old trick of our trade. Knowing they won't get paid on your home, they'll do whatever they have to do to not sell yours. Here's why. If they can use your home to get calls, I'm going to fix that right now. That's pretty embarrassing. That was in front of thousands of people. Home to get calls or sign, and maybe no stupid open houses can pick up buyers, right? Knowing that they can get full commission selling other homes to other buyers. Oh, we just went through this, to sell yours. They have no reason to be motivated to get yours sold. So they continue to work with buyers and sell other homes. It's not the best practice, but let's face it, they have kids to feed too, right? And they're just like, oh crap, okay. And that's real. Like that when I say that, they're just like, no way, I'll pay you 8% just to handle mine only. All right. So here's the second part of that. We get that all the time. Let's do the math. Commission is broken down by 1%, your marketing, right? 1% the agent's paycheck and 1% of the brokerage, overhead and Uncle Sam. Which part do you think the agent can take out? Yeah, your marketing, right? Now you're going to sit on the market for so long, we have to reduce your price even more. So they're not going to work for free, right? Would you? It's sad to know a home will sit on the market for 30 days and come down 5%, 5 to 10% in negotiating, when sellers are only trying to save 1 to 2%. So let's do the right thing. Pay me based on my performance. If I sell it at close to full price in less than 30 days, pay me what I'm worth. And if I have to reduce your price, I'll come down with you. If I have to beat you up, I'll come down too. How about this? If we get multiple offers and bidding wars, it's only fair you pay me a bonus, right? And I do laugh, and I say that every single time. You see, it's a win-win for everyone. Let's not cut out the most important key to your success and mine. I hope you can appreciate my confidence. I look forward to kicking booty for you guys, like for reals. So when somebody says, will you do it for 5% or 4%, whatever they say, I just say, sure. But when this is broken down, like all we can't control our brokerage. We can't control our overhead. We can't control all this stuff. We can only control your marketing. So if I have a $500 ad to do on YouTube, I probably won't do it knowing that I'm going to be losing money on the sale of your home. Like, we didn't just make up a 6% commission or a 5% commission out of thin air. It's a number for a reason. And that's about what it truly costs to get a home sold, right? And we could talk about other things, putting it on an auction site and making there be a 6% buyer premium. We could do that, but I don't recommend it. Sorry, I know we're getting close on time. All right, discount auction companies are less. Now, right now, you guys don't hear about Zillow and auction.com, but you're going to very soon, right? And that's why I just brought up the buyer's premium. Let's face it, buyers are not stupid and won't pay the commission on a home priced at market value. A buyer's premium only exists when the home is undervalued. Let's face it, if you price your home that much undervalued, I'll buy it. You see, let's take a close look at who does all the work, takes all the risk, and at the end of the day, who loses. Trust me, I get it. We all want to save a penny, but at what price? So when people say, well, I'm just going to put it on auction.com, I don't want to pay a commission. I go, cool, but let's look at the statistics, right? To put your home on an auction website, you have to reduce it in order to attract buyers. There's no way they're going to see two homes each worth 100 grand and then go ahead and pay 106 just because it's on an auction site. People aren't that stupid. You know, if I can find somebody smart enough to have that kind of cash or qualify for it, do you expect me to find somebody that smart and that stupid at the same time? No, it's not going to happen. We'll just wait if it sits. That's cool. You know, this might make a great rental too. As you know, real estate cycles cyclical. We're typically in 5 to 7 year cycles, and the market bounced back from recession in 2011. Well, it's 2019. Okay, now we know when I did this. Well, it's 2020 now. We're close to the top, I'm sure. Last time was 96 to 2000 and pretty good. 2005, pretty good proof, I would say, that if you're prepared to wait 4 years down and 4 years to come back up, perfect. During that time, tenants will pay off your home. If you don't mind them abusing it a little bit for those years, either way, I'm fine. What do you think? This is real. Mr. and Miss Smith, let's rent it then. It's not going to sell for that price. That's stupid. Like, why would you waste 3 or 4 months, up to 6 months of time waiting to see it's not going to sell? Just throw it in the rental pool now and start getting paid, and we'll go sell you your home you want, or you can move to wherever you want. And you'll really, truly find their true motivation. Because if you're so confident that, and especially me, I own a property management company, I really don't care. At some point, I'll sell it. So I'm like, dude, rent it. Why would you do that? Have somebody else pay 30 grand off of your mortgage over the next, 5, 7, 8 years. And they're like, 8 years, no way. And I go, well, it's not really that much, because, every year we have to throw a couple grand into it, because let's face it, tenants are kind of treating your place like a hotel. So we paint it every year, carpet it every year. It's only a few grand, don't worry. So over the next 8 years for the market to turn, let's say we're another 25 grand into it, no big deal. They've paid off a lot of your mortgage though, right? Or you can just take the 25 grand off now that you're so worried about and call it a day. Which do you prefer? So I like that one too. Getting the tenant out first. Oh God, I'm sure you agree it's a lot easier to sell with the tenant gone. What I've learned in our pre-marketing campaign is so strong, it's successful many times before they leave. Could you imagine how nice it would be to sell this for top dollar? I'm not making any promises, but it's worth a shot. Let's sign the paperwork now. Pick a price you're comfortable with. That way I can go promote it before it maybe even find a buyer. If not, that's okay too. At least I can shave a couple of weeks off of getting ready for market, because I'll be well underway. You see, it's worth me going through this hassle to possibly net you a lot more money. So what happens is people say, I have this rental property. The lease is up 3 months from now. I'm just trying to get a feel. Well, in 3 months, they've talked to a lot of agents, and it's really rare that you're going to follow up properly, so you're probably going to lose them. Especially with my property management company, I hear this all the time. So I'm like, no, let's just sell it with the tenant in it, and we can negotiate with the tenant later, lower rent, make sure we give them all their security deposit back, things like that. All right, cool. I have a family member in the business. In California, at least, everybody knows anybody that has a real estate license. It's like that old Mike Ferry joke. I got pulled over by the cop and they asked for my real estate license, because more people have that than driver's license. So it's true. So here's a good one. I see. Let's face it. We all have friends and family members in the business. Let me ask you this, and this is NLP, by the way, right? Has there ever been a time in the past where you like maybe did business with a friend, family member, and something was not quite right? And now fast forward a little bit. How does that relationship look today? Not the same, huh? Well, sometimes when we work for our friends, we shy away from the hard truth, we shy away from the hard truth to save them from the pain. Can you imagine if I was not upfront about pricing your property to save your feelings? I'm sure you'll love your family, but what if you knew my marketing gets you an extra 2 to 3% more than your family member could for your home? I love my friends, but they surely don't pay my bills. I like to think business is business, and I love them more than ruining a relationship over a business deal. I would also feel funny letting them into my very private financial life. How about we list the home? I'll call them and explain your position. And after all, if they're friends and family, they'll understand, won't they? But when you do framing like that and you say, listen, has there ever been a time where you did business with a friend or family member? Now, if I ask you that right now, to be real honest with yourself and look back, who have you done business with that relationship never was quite the same? As a matter of fact, even with my close friends, I put my team on them no matter what, because I don't want to ruin that relationship, because it's very rare when you go through such a major financial transfer that something's going to go wrong and they're going to hold you responsible, or you will feel funny. And I know people that list their homes with their friends all the time, because their friend is a friend. They're going to do it for so cheap, and because they love them. I'm going to say, listen, your friend doesn't have that right to do that, because what they're doing is they're removing your marketing fee out of your list price. Now, if they're not going to do anything to market your home, I mean, I'm sure they love you, but are they going to spend 5, 10, 15 grand marketing your home when they say they're not making any money off you? No, they love you, but they're not going to do that. So your friend's just basically trying, giving it a shot, hoping somebody stumbles by. Is that worth 5 to 10% more 30 days later? And is that worth ruining a friendship over? Are you kidding me? Look, at the end of the day, what I also say is, look, if they're not going to make any money and they're such a great friend, how about this? Pay me and I'll pay them a small referral fee so they get something out of it. Will that make you feel better? and I'll send them 5, 10, 15, 20%, depending on the price and what we have to do. All right, we're almost done, guys. Hang in there. I know it's been a long one. Well, there was something we were supposed to talk about. Something I said, remind me in the chat later. Oh, the different commission plans. So people always, that's the first thing I say. First thing people say when they call me is, hey, Mike, what do you charge for commission? I go, hey, I'm glad you asked that question. We have a commission plan to fit everybody's budget. No matter what, that'll be the first thing we talk about when we get together. Fair enough? That proves that you're going to get the appointment, because now they're like, what? They have different plans. I get to pick A, B, C. I love that. People like to pick what they want. And no matter what anybody sells you, like you go buy a car, nowadays they have these so intricate warranties. You get the grand poobah, you get somewhere in the middle, you get just the maintenance. People like to pick. So I always say, and then when I get there, they say, what are your commission plans? I say, well, we can do an agent exclusive for 4%, meaning we will not put it in the MLS and go through that. I won't market that. We have the 5% transaction where we'll do everything except these two things. And then we have the 6 or 7% where we guarantee X, Y, and Z, right? So I just say, most people just go with the old-fashioned 6%. You get all the marketing, you get all of us, you get all my team. If you want to work on a bonus structure to go up to 7%, we can do that. We can talk about that right now. I don't recommend not going in the MLS because I can only work with a handful of qualified buyers. I know everybody wants a deal, but actually the deal is, because you called me, I'm going to get you a higher price and a faster sale and more money in your pocket than any other agent. Let's go through the marketing now so I can prove that to you, right? So that's that. That wore me out, you guys. I did 2 hours worth of training in an hour. So, all right. So again, your homework is go back to the podcast, listen to the video on don't give pricing up front, and it walks you through the whole thing. Download your listing presentations from eXp Enterprise, Breakthrough Broker, bootleg one off the internet. I don't know, maybe your office has one that you can borrow. Get your listing presentation down. Let me go over it with you. If you want my girl that does my design work, you can have her. It's not cheap, but you can do that. You can do your own off of Maxa. You guys all have Maxa. And I think that's about it. Maybe go over all these scripts and dialogues. If you want me to put these, I will put these, but somebody has to remind me to put these scripts in the book, in the group. But make sure you go over these. And you can kind of hear, I just start flowing off and just kind of, I've said them so many times, they just come out differently every time, but the effect is the same, the concept is the same, although the context might change a little bit. And obviously there's tons more scripts out there, but for an hour-long class at Club Wealth, that's all I could put in there. So I tried to pick the best ones and the hardest ones. So, okay, guys, I think we're rocking and rolling. I love you all. If you need me, call me. This was week 11. Next week's going to be 12. I think next week is buyer mastery and loyalty. Ugh, I hate doing that one, but you need it, so I'm going to give it to you. All right, guys, take care. Be good this week and be productive. It's awesome out there. The market's really picking up. Take care.